Oh, we're good. That's all right. Let's go over, cracks my back just right, and it feels right, so.
Probably I would bad.
Oh. Yeah, we didn't meet in this place, that's for sure. Trying to make our money back at the meat locker soon. All right. Did you get the invitation this morning with them too? All right. You ready to rock and roll? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a regular meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court. This is 29th day of August, 2023. Let me clarify that for anybody out there at home. As you recall, at the beginning of our year, we're required to set our regular terms of court, our regular meetings. What we did at that time is the last 3 weeks in August, we set as a regular meeting, and then we'll be meeting completely in regular meetings every Tuesday in September, because I love to see everybody's smiling face, and thank you for showing up. Back to the agenda at hand, though, this meeting was posted according to Texas Government Code 551, better known as the Texas Open Meetings Act, in a quorum of commissioners as president and staff. Thanks everybody for being here today. Mr. Paul, has anybody signed up to speak online by 8 o'clock this morning? Nope. One of these days we'll get somebody. So at this time, we would let's first invoke the blessing of the Almighty, and we'll go from there. Jim.
Heavenly Father, thank you for your love, your grace, your mercy. Thank you for giving us what we need, not what we deserve. We'll just watch over us as we deliberate the business of Hill County. Give us hearts to serve like you served us. Lord, we ask for forgiveness where we failed you. Pick us up, put us back on the path that leads to your life eternal. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Just want to place it back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the flag and pledge allegiance to the executive one state under God, one indivisible.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you everybody for being here today. Appreciate it. Oh, this is the time we kind of go through and do our welcome to visitors, and we announce some presentations. But first, commissioners, what's going on with Mr. Holden?
Well, we had a repair we had to do on the seals put in, so it doesn't leak. We are working on an interlocal grade, renewal pounded one. We've been pulling the water out of there from our roads because it's so dry.
Yeah.
But we picked up a blade and put it on 1212, which is a painting project. And we are under full blade of that. And it's just,
That'll be a heck of a project for you to took this on to get.
Yeah, it's long.
That's
Like
it.
to get textiles.
I wouldn't blame you. Commissioner Crumpton was going on precinct 2 this morning.
I'm staying busy Sunday night. Part of my precinct was fortunate enough to get a pretty good rain from about mile south to the county line, anywhere from an inch and a half, and I have heard reports of 4.5 inches.
Wow.
So we were able to drag some roads till about noon yesterday till they got too dry, but they had to quit pretty quick because it soaked in. But other than that, we're hauling more rock on another road.
Good deal. Appreciate it. Commissioner Hawkins, how are things at precinct 3 this morning?
Well, we spraying a little hole on 3116 west this morning, cover up some of the millings that we've been getting from TxDOT. Patching some roads that got a little rain Sunday afternoon, so spent the day yesterday picking up trees, got a little wind along with it.
Yeah, we're finding some trees reviews.
Yes, and so trying to get some mud holes patched up.
Wonderful. Commissioner Lake, how are things at precinct 4 this morning?
They're doing pretty good, I guess. Mud husband, we brought some oversize in it.
Okay.
And then we got one road we're redoing the ditch that it's no dirt road, but it's been washing out pretty bad. So we're gonna redo that and put 3 new ones in it. It's been an expensive dirt road to nowhere.
Unfortunately required though. I got you. Good deal. Mr. Henry, what's going on with management today?
Glad to see that rain.
No, you ain't kidding.
Had a pretty good farm over the weekend, but and it got big. So.
Is that the Kimber Bend?
Right closer, right real close to the thing.
I know we could see the smoke at one point. It's out of the wood.
Big pot.
Yeah.
I think they were regulated in 88 and 80. And that, you think about that, there's a lot of residents, a lot of different. Oh, what's stuff that here, they got it locked down, like, maybe place in part of that, so that rate came out pictures. Other than that, where we kind of ran into a road bump on the radio project, and I think after the phone conversation this morning, they got the grader out, they will make it split.
Come up, Commissioner Kriegs, quote Commissioner 3, smooth as the top of this table. That'll be fine. Philip, what's happening in IT this week?
We got a couple of things going on over at the sheriff's office this week. The fingerprint scanner has been ordered, been shipped out. We've got the camera reader coming out tomorrow, upgrade software. Also, want to let you know, yesterday, the on-base server, which is an older system that's in the process of going away. We had some issues yesterday afternoon. We got it resolved, but it looks like there's a little bit of corruption on the system. I'm gonna elevate the my drive to get that system replaced. Now, we put that under the other vendor access imaging system, AIS.
Oh, yeah, we've used them.
So that's a little concerned, but it's other times.
Keep your fingers crossed for it. So what's happening in the auditor's office this week?
So we got the 128,000 yesterday with Fair Health, but we're making some great final revisions, but this week.
Lots of budget time this week. Exactly right. That'll be our waking hours. Thank you. Ms. Parker, what's going on in Treasurer's office?
Evergreen. Everybody's asking, we're getting.
I can only imagine your phone bill is off the hook. So
this afternoon, we have another meeting with them on some more data coming from the members.
and we only got about 8 or so left at this point that they've got questions in. So good.
And then payroll coming up, we already put in their own selections. So I said everyone wanted your next page very carefully to make sure what you selected at open enrollment is what is being conducted.
That's a good point.
Just it.
Good deal. Sheriff, what's going on in your part of the world?
We're at 119 in the jails, we're enjoying low numbers right now. I don't think that's gonna last too long. We're gearing up for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, that's no one got a 3-day coming up. I think 119 may be a low for the week. Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty bright last night and my phone didn't ring, so no. Yeah, I hope that stays up. So. All right, good deal. What's up with our constable this morning, Constable Armstrong?
Just doing labor.
Papers, basically. Okay, good deal. Steady work?
Yes.
All right. Anything from Chief Juvenile Probation?
Seeing further to see, which in, our world is unfortunate because it has to kids.
Yeah.
But our JJP numbers continue to increase and we've seen girls coming in on a pretty steady basis. So
Yeah, I think that's the biggest change from all the time I've been here is the number of females we're seeing in these programs now versus what we used to see. That's not a good sign for society. Mr. Torres, anything to share with us this morning from elections?
Nothing too much. Start having off the measure building election. I think we said.
And everybody had their filing date last Monday, the 21st. And so we kind of know who's going to have an election now, who's not. And it's just a process of building is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Why not? Good deal here. Well, all right, from this chair then, lots of stuff going on. Budget, that's what's eating most of our waking hours now. So we've got the budget file, things are good, database is good, lots of help, lots of people looking at it. Now we're coming through it for the little mistakes, the ticky-tacky things that happen when you're dealing with, a couple thousand lines of data. So we'll go back through those and get an eye on that stuff. And I'm hoping by Thursday evening to have something out to everybody for their review. What we've got right now is Rachel's working on the HR portion, that section of it, just awaiting a few last things from Evergreen. I'm told once that goes in, we're doing our review on the revenue. I talked with Saeed yesterday. He's going back through looking at our starting numbers and the revenue more, not so much on the ad valorem, but on our other numbers to make sure that our estimates earlier this year are holding at this point. And then we are just reviewing for general sloppiness, is all I can say. So, or we might find mistakes, we're attempting those. The last things that I'm really waiting on, and the commissioners have been, I'm sorry, constables have been good getting information to me, is numbers on cars. Not knowing those exact numbers, we're going to kind of guess. We're going to shoot a little bit high on that. We should be good though if things don't work exactly like we think on that. We'll have the ability to work with it. On our end here too, construction. Going forward, they did get the rain tank itself installed, but not the plumbing yet. They were aggravated. They had some crews out there yesterday pulling the weeds. Johnson grass was a nice change of pace, or at least we had some kind of floor growing around it. But now what they're doing is working with master gardeners to start some of those flower beds out in the parking lot around back. We have calls in, and I had a conversation yesterday with McKinstry, who's the overseeing engineer on that job, about what they're doing going forward with the architect to get that slab situation remediated. The good news is it hasn't moved anymore. Even after the rain, it didn't move, but that doesn't mean that it's fixed yet. Over at Covington Street, took a tour yesterday. Spent about an hour with Carson, the construction manager over there. That project is moving along. We're still projecting mid-month to have the Child Advocacy Center, the Historical Commission, the Veteran Service Officer, Child Advocacy Center rooms, those open, and probably we will have most of the constables offices open as well. So the things in the back that are taking a little more time, regarding the courtroom back there, obviously there's some detail in that needs to be dealt with. Yesterday they were painting, today they're painting. We believe Wednesday they're going to start hanging the ceiling grids. Once they do that, things will move fairly quickly. The AC people come back and start putting in the registers. The folks from the electricians, they come back, start hanging lights. So we're making pretty good progress there. On the backside of that facility, my understanding is the permits have now been pulled. There was a hiccup with the destruction of the house, the demolition of the house, I should say. Thank goodness our people looked at it. They found a problem. There was a meter there at one time. The gas company didn't agree. Got escalated to a supervisor. The supervisor of the gas company comes out and says, "You're right, there is a meter." So before we started digging up the ground, pulling up gas lines, thank goodness they stopped and got that corrected. We really expect probably this weekend that house is going to disappear back there, as with the junk in the yard. Matter of fact, they let everybody know, especially as folks in our securities, that they will be working over Covington all weekend this weekend. They've got to take advantage of a 3-day weekend. They're going to do some demo work on the outside of CSCD on that front. That's going to come in, and they're starting hopefully with a rock today on the outside and start moving that forward. So a lot of stuff happening over there, still moving forward. I have not heard back from Olshan yet, the people we came out for the cell block museum. So I got to get a call back from them, figure out where we're heading on that matter, or if they're just going to throw their hands up and I got to find somebody else. That's a lot of what's going on, not all of what's going on, but so this week's going to be a busy one. If you need me, catch me on the cell phone, call Miss Paula, but I'm going to have my nose stuck in an Excel spreadsheet for most of the week. So anyway, that's what we've got here today. So at this time, if there's anybody here to speak to the court for open forum, if there's something that's not a matter on the agenda, please feel free. This is your opportunity to address us. As we respect you, please show respect to the court. If you would, limit your comments to about 3 to 5 minutes in duration. Everybody time, don't be scared. Only person that bites is Holcomb, and he's way over here, so we'll be fine. All right, in which case, having nothing for open forum, we're going to move along into our consent agenda. At this time, we have action on minutes, action on invoices, the payroll, monthly report, revenue disbursement, observed report, elected official training certificates. Gentlemen, no invoices and payroll came in form to you guys as emails from the treasurer's office. Greatly appreciate that. We print them off, but we don't print them off for everybody because how many trees do I have to kill? So if there is there's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention? Motion shall carry unanimously. All right. That puts us on to court orders. Number 1, discussion of approving employee wage status changes. Guys, unless somebody gets terminated, there'll be no more wages changes after today. We have to finalize things that last month of September, like we always do, to make sure we've got the right numbers in the budget. So please explain that to your employees that we love you, but we have to have some final numbers going into this next year's budget to understand where we're going to be at. So we have, good deal. We have Jose Solis in the sheriff's office. He's going from transport deputy moving up to patrol deputy training. So That is the only employee wage status change we have this date. Motion second, any further discussion? Hearing none, I call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carries unanimously. Man. Ms. Tanner's over here throwing paperwork at me from her signature. I guess this is. Moving along to our bonds, we have a couple of different bonds. As you guys know, that we have multiple notaries in the courthouse. One of those is our very own Ms. Rachel Ann Parker. Thank you, ma'am, for having a notary bond. We have that bond. Yep, that's it. Motion to second to approve notary bond, Ms. Rachel Parker. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Number 3, discuss and approve residential, non-residential contracts, interagency agreements with juvenile probation department. Gentlemen, as you know, we have contracts with multiple entities throughout the state of Texas because finding detention beds for juveniles is just so difficult. So not that we use every last one of these, but we have to have every last one of these at our disposal to use. So Chief, go ahead. What you got?
I'm going to be really incredibly brief because we went through this at our last commissioner's court. This is just an additional contract that we are adding to our list of facilities. I believe this is going to take us to number 16. And so it just continues to add just that support for staff whenever we're looking for detention beds, especially, outside of the 2 that we're hopefully going to be funding.
Good deal. And our numbers are final on that, right? I needed to ask you as part of the budget. I didn't call you yet.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yes.
There's no changes,
No,
nothing.
absolutely, yeah.
Appreciate that.
Would you agree to pay for those 2 spots?
I know we've talked about it. I'll have to look back in the record to see if we approved a contract yet. I don't think we did because we didn't have the contract to approve. I think everybody was in agreement to do that. It's just a matter, we need the actual physical document and send it through for review. So I am budgeting currently like everybody's going to approve it, just absent Granbury sending us the contract. Once we get that, we'll put it on the, I know Chief will put it on the agenda and we'll get it.
Yes, I'm working on it right now. We're just kind of trying to finalize. Denton County's having their legal look at it and then they'll send it to us. And it's the same contract we have in place currently for Denton County.
I see,
It just,
forgive me.
yeah, it just specifies the prepaid beds and that they will be available to us, which is again going to just be remarkable for us.
Good. All right, good deal. Questions about this for the chief?
Make a motion approved. Second.
Motion and a second. We have a motion and a second to approve a residential, non-residential contract interagency agreement with the juvenile probation department. And this is particularly for Collin County. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I shall call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. This is your official copy because Judge Harris is the chief of the juvenile probation board. Is the only person that had to sign it. All right. Okay, good. Number 4, discussion and approved communication system agreement between Hill County and Mertens Volunteer Fire Department. I'll make the motion. Next motion second. Discussion phase of this is simply, this is the exact same agreement other entities are entering into. We just want to make sure that we have a clear authority to operate. You don't want to come into a time of emergency and find out suddenly, uh-oh, we don't have the paperwork to do things. So that's all the discussion I have. Any further commentary? If not, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. This is the 29th day of 2023. Right here, see, she has it. I may have been accused of misplacing paperwork. I may have misplaced that paperwork, but I didn't want to take the responsibility for it, so. I don't think I did actually. It's okay if there's more. I mean, I think there's some other people out there, and bless you, that were initially kind of resistant to the radio deal. Just, change is different. It's people change. Yeah, people are naturally resistant to change. But I think the spectacular success we've had with it, and the clarity, the ability to communicate is changing people's minds. So we're getting back into place. It's going to be better for us. All right. So number 5, discuss and or approve memorandum of understanding, communication and coordination between the Blum Independent School District, Police Department, and Hill County Sheriff's Office. Chief, what you got for us today?
Gentlemen, this is the same MOU that we did with Mount Palm ISD when they set up their police department. Future chief of Blum ISD would be Spencer Bassler. And then it's the next agenda item. It's the exact same thing. David actually looked over this previously when we did it with Mount Palm. So It's just the same agreement.
Okay, as you know, Jim, this just outlines our working relationship, not how money trades hands, nothing like that, just simply what we do to work with each other. We provide multiple services, including dispatch, radios, things like that. So this goes further into that relationship. All right, have a motion and a second to approve memorandum of understanding concerning communication and coordination between the Blum Independent School District Police Department and Hill County Sheriff's Office. Is there any further commentary or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the ayes have it, the noes no, and I'm sending the first paperwork around. Number 6 is discuss and approve memorandum of understanding concerning communication coordination between Covington Independent School District Police Department and Hill County. Again, the same document, basically with the names changed on it, and again, it regulates our relationship. So. Motion, I heard 2 motions. I knew I heard them somewhere. Motion and second, we got it. Motion and second, any further discussion? No, thank you. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Motion carries. I'll send that one around. Gentlemen, number 7, I'm sorry, I'm not ready to operate on. I getting close, so I want to bring it to you. What this is a request for qualifications for facilities. You know, it's no secret, we've had conversations in this court multiple times talking about additional space at the sheriff's office. We need administrative space. They're on top of each other. We also need to talk about what we're doing with JPs out in precinct 3 and ultimately going to be in precinct 4. You know, we got to start making plans today for tomorrow. We have a JP in 4 who's been a great JP, but he's housed out of his own building for several years. Remember when it used to be a auto parts store, and at some point he's probably going to want to not do that. So we need to start thinking about what we've done in precinct 1, which is kind of make a sub courthouse annex in that, and we're looking at the same thing in precinct 3, so that we kind of consolidate our lines here a little bit. So the request for qualifications is a big thing. Is I needed to mandate when we wanted to do, and I've got proposed October 6, 2023 at 2 p.m. I think that gives everybody more than enough time, over 45 days, to answer this thing. And right about 40 days to answer this thing. And then, so the proposed scope of work that we have on here right now, and we need to line out everything we're putting out in this, is the sheriff's office, the Covington Street Annex adult probation space. Because we talked about if we build on the sheriff's office is putting adult probation down there as well, then that's great. But once we do that, we may or may not need to renovate those spaces at Covington Street. So I just put it in here just so it's covered. And then the precinct 3 facility again, which is a JP, and the precinct 4 facility, which is the JP. It's not really just the JP, but those facilities. So you'll see highlighted in, did yours come out yellow? No, sorry. Yours come out gray. I like you guys, but not enough to spend color copies on you, apparently. That must be the problem. So anyway, those are the changes that I'm proposing to this document. I've got. Well, I'm open to that too. We can put it on here. Okay, and we can either. I'd rather put things on here that we weren't going to take action on than not having, because it gives us the opportunity to do things. But if we don't have them on here, we're outside the scope. So what I'm getting at is if juvenile probation is something we need to look at, and I think we do. Okay, so that's what I needed from you guys. Hang on, I'm gonna go through the rest of this, because I tell you what, is there any other projects you guys can think of we need to talk about? What we're doing here is we're soliciting qualifications for either architects, engineers, design, build, both. We want to see what the proposals are out there. Who's got the qualifications to actually do this kind of work? We did this once before. We're not new to us when we hired the last architect. I think our experiences have been less than what we expected with that particular architect. So we're going back out again to see what we can find. Again, inquiries on page 6 under 11, everything comes to me in my email. So I've got to modify the date for the qualifications issued on page 6. That'll be 8/29 and they'll be due 10/6. And then we're going to try to select a contractor before 10/20. And that's something that we can put some wiggle room in. Outside of those things, that's really what I have to discuss with you guys. The rest of this talks about how we're going to grade these, what that percentage of those gradings are. So everybody's operating under the same system. Page 12 is actually that performance evaluation sheet, so that when these bids qualifications come back, that we have that. And then last is the page 13, which is a tabulation sheet of anything that may come in.
What about the piece of property you need to buy?
So the difference between this and that, those properties are just raw properties we're gonna buy. This, we're actually looking at possible construction, and this is more geared towards that. The properties we're gonna buy is part of what we're gonna try to put some of that one-time dip into the capital expenditure unbudgeted reserve to take care of those. So we won't need to actually request qualifications for those purchases. There is a bone in here this morning. Well, that being said, the only thing that, the only reason I was hesitant to do this is, do we have any other project we need to do? I mean, and again, just because we're including them on this list doesn't mean we're actually going to do them. But if I don't include them on the list, I'll have to go out and do this whole mess again later.
What about an office for precinct 4?
It's in there. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's that I had that included, and the original one didn't have that in it, so we just had precinct 4 facility. That's the reason I need this amendment to it, is I didn't catch at the time that if it's not on there, we're gonna have to go out again. I'd rather just wrap this up under one heading and we can make plans. Again, this is not construction. This isn't contractors. This is picking architects, engineers, how that's gonna move forward. So if you guys are cool with that, because I'll be honest with you, I hate playing construction manager. If it wasn't for Martin helping me out, I'd probably go crazy by now. Building things is not just, yeah, I'm probably nuts for holding this job. Building things is not my favorite thing to do. I love everybody, but man, I like having hard and fast deadlines. And it looks like the construction world, hard and fast deadlines don't always exist. I tend to agree with you. Yeah.
So whenever Mark was at his budget hearing, did I hear him ask to move the auditor's office so we could have more space?
He did, but no one's made a decision on that. That was asked though.
So if the auditor moves, I'm gonna do it because our offices need to align.
Okay.
Close to each other.
Okay.
So that's something that is kind of.
Well, it was requested, but we don't have those conversations yet, but we're definitely, if we're gonna move that way, you guys will be included in that conversation from the get-go. Yeah, there was a lot of, I don't call it spitballing, whatever you want to call it, just kind of open thinking about how we're gonna allocate people moving forward. I mean, this is a beautiful building, but frankly, it's not a functioning courthouse. There's just not enough room in it. It's got safety issues as far as I'm concerned, where it comes to security, not your everyday safety, but security issues. So yeah, moving forward, if those conversations do happen to take place, you guys will be right in the middle of it. So that's nothing that we're doing today.
So I'm just gonna recommend y'all have tents.
Cold, nice.
I mean, somebody's account can get cut off a JDO. You watch what happens. Yeah, got to pay the bills again this month. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, with that addition, if you guys then are okay with that, that's all I needed was, hey, if there's any new. Because I had not had a chance to have that conversation, but if everybody's good to go, I'll go ahead and ask if you guys approve this as it is with the amendments that I recommended we make today. Okay. All right. Motion and second to approve a request for approve amendments to the request for qualifications, and I will reissue this request. I will get it to you later this afternoon so we can get it up on the website and we can get it out to the general world for any responses to it. All right, in which case I'll call the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions, motion carries. Next is number 8, discussion or accept action discussion action to accept the FY 2024 Crime Victim Coordinator and Liaison Grant Contract Award. Good news, every year we hold our fingers just right, hold our tongue just right, and hopefully the state will fund our Crime Victims Coordinator. And they let us know last week that they will do so for another year. So we're in good shape. I really think people, this is not a knock, it's just don't understand how hard Katie Cole works for this county and what she does. I know that people see her kind of wandering around looking carefree, but she has one of the toughest jobs here, dealing with victims day in, day out, getting people through the processes, through court. Okay, well, they know my bullets keep it, we're good. So anyway, I recommend that we accept this award.
Second.
All right, motion and a second to accept the FY 2024 Crime Victim Coordinator Liaison Grant Contract Award. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstention, motion carries. Number 9, budget workshop. I kind of went over what I'm doing in the budget. So where I'm at this point is really in the short rows. We are simply trying to make sure that we are cleaning up any mistakes. The last of the information you heard from the treasurer will come in hopefully this afternoon from Evergreen. Again, I am not upset with Evergreen. We put them on a tight timeline, so we knew that this was going to operate around how we did our budget. I think they've come through and they've done what they said they're going to do to this point. The next deal for us is really, we've got most of the decisions that body's made in our hands, and we're just going through that data and making sure it reflects accurately what we're going to do. We're on track for next Tuesday to adopt a budget, propose a tax rate, maybe not in that order. But if there's any last minute things we need to do, again, I think the big expenditure lines out there for me at this point are the vehicles I have to put in. I've got one vehicle price pinned down, but the other 4 that we've got planned on this year's budget, I have to put those in. I've got pretty good idea what they're going to cost though. So I think we're pretty good there. The revenue side of the house, Sage's working on, the HR side of the house, Rachel's working on. And then it comes back to figuring out how much money we need to put in overtime in certain places. I've asked Aaron to go back because we know his people are going to work overtime. And just for clarification, since we paid the election workers out of a different line, we didn't put the election workers overtime into the 1200 line, the overtime line. It's actually in the election workers. If somebody wants that broke out, we can do so. So you'll notice a sizable increase. The reason of that is because the state of Texas has passed some new laws. And look, it's just difficult for us to find people that want to do this. It's a seasonal job that, 2 weeks. We have the same people that are willing to work most of those 2 weeks. Well, when they do, they're going to go over 40 hours, especially with the state of Texas saying we're open 12 hours a day the second week and those weekend days. I like to make sure that we have plenty of bodies around an election, because even though we have 3 gentlemen election during early vote, each one of them's got a place. Precinct 1 down in Hubbard or here. And these guys work around the clock for 3 weeks straight, basically getting stuff ready. There's trainings involved. So I just wanted you guys to know when you see that, that's where we put the overtime for election workers. Now, for the employees in the office, that's going to go into the 1200 line as far as I'm concerned, where it needs to go. And we're doing some math about what our elections are going to look like. So our biggest deal is the first year we've ever budgeted for overtime. And we're trying to understand that we have a limited amount of revenue, but we are going to have some limited places where we do have overtime. If you've got an idea what your overtime number is going to look like, let me know, because it's going to be important. Other than that, that's kind of where we're at now at the budget, just really getting down to brass tacks at this point.
So we need to go over and improve, bringing heads and sending so that they can plug it in for the budget.
I appreciate that, yeah, because so you're making a motion that we accept whatever Evergreen's final solution is. Okay, and that way we can put it all in, because they, like I said, there's approximately 8 or so out right now that I'm aware of. We should get that back and get that figured out. All right, that's a motion. That's a second. There's a motion and a second under number 10, discussion or action as a result of budget workshop to use the Evergreen proposal for the employee wages for fiscal year 2024. Is that correct?
That's right. And what is that other 6 or 8?
Yeah, whatever. I think it, I don't. Yeah, yeah. If that's exactly right. But yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, subject to whatever final amendments that Evergreen recommends. Okay, any further discussion on that? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, any abstentions? Are there any other budget items that I need to think about? I know you guys have disasters happen on a regular basis. Bridges collapse, box culverts collapse. If there's any large expenditures coming up in the next month that we weren't anticipating a month ago, let's get with Saab and talk about that, because that will affect your starting balance. And the last thing I hate to do is go, hey, this is the starting balance for your precinct. Well, sorry, we're completely wrong by $100,000. Now you don't have that money you were depending on next year. I'd rather fix that now. And every year it seems like disaster strikes in September for somebody. I hope it's not y'all, but
the weekend of April the 8th, the eclipse.
yes, sir.
You think any of the precincts that have to be involved that weekend for any things?
That's a great question. Let me get clarification on that for you.
Because, it's going to be a lot of people in the country, and, whether the precincts be called out for any reason.
Well, you know what? Let's go ahead and make plans on at least the 8th, which is that Monday for sure. And you're right, it may be more than that. That being said, that's a great question. We may have people get stuck.
I know that's a holiday for the county, but the precincts could be some kind of problem pop up.
All right, we'll need to adjust the budget accordingly for that. That's a good point. Thank you. Let me make a note of that.
The occupancy very greatly controlled, not utilized. If it breaks things, like I said, the worst case scenario is it's one of those rare days, rain, things. We got a lot of people stuff, maybe for helping for some traffic. Or get traffic moving.
I could see that for sure. So yes, and so we'll budget accordingly for that. You know, it's up to each one of you gentlemen how you run the show, but any help we could get out of the crowd for April 8th is going to be much appreciated. We're not going to have the ability, I'm afraid, to pull in officers from surrounding jurisdictions, like if we were having a Willie Nelson concert or something. The deal is everybody else is dealing with the same thing we're dealing with, so we're kind of on our own. But all hands on deck, especially for things like traffic control, checking on people, just minor public assistance would be greatly appreciated that weekend. We expect people will start getting here that Thursday, that Friday, and that your population will crescendo throughout Sunday night. And then Monday, you're going to have the event in the afternoon. Some people were encouraging them to stay Monday night, but then you're going to have a mass exodus out of the county. So having people available on call that weekend and then on the roads on that Monday are probably going to be really important tonight. I appreciate that.
Don't tell me what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm be honest, I'm a little trepidatious just about the whole thing. Nothing we can do about it. It's coming to us, but we're gonna have to pay attention. And I will report the majority of the school districts have done is the group, the Eclipseboro thing that we've got going, that the city started and we're participating in. A majority of the schools have informed me that they are going to have this holiday. There's one or two outliers there. I'm hoping that the rest of those folks see the wisdom in what we're trying to say is that if school's out, you don't have a mass target for anybody. Because our population actually goes to 500,000 like they say it's going to, and then we've got enough people come talk to us. Then we got people all over this county. How do we respond to an incident like that? How do we make that happen? But just as much as anything brings in good folks, you know, it's going to bring in some people trying to take advantage of others on this thing as well. So our recommendation to the schools from the get-go is understanding that huge population influx, knowing how difficult it is going to get your buses around with that kind of traffic, how difficult it is going to be operating in a secure environment. We again ask any school district that's not yet called April 8, 2024 as a holiday to please reconsider, speak with the sheriff's office, speak with your precinct commander, speak with us. We promise we're not asking you to take a day off for no reason. We do believe it's in safety and everybody's best interest just to take a day on that Monday. You know, further too, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for some of these kids too. I'm sure most of the schools that are in will probably try to do something, but again, I can't force anybody to do anything. I won't force anybody to do anything, but I just, you know, I make a plea to the wisdom of calling that a day off just for safety purposes of everybody else.
Do you think the highway patrol will let all the approved troopers that we have that we never get, they're all on the coast?
I think you might want to call the governor on that one. I'll refrain from answering that question.
Well, that would be good.
It would be great, and I'm hoping, and we're going to make some phone calls about that. I know people from the DPS are already involved in this matter, but I can't speak to if they're going to be here or how they're going to be deployed by their higher ups in Austin. I hope the folks in Austin sees the wisdom of having as many here as possible. We'll see. We'll see. That's a good point, though. What else we got? Just to give you an update budget wise. Serendipitous, we found that truck that we were looking for up at 5 Star Ford for Chris Jackson to pull the trailer, the command trailer. Those guys on a shoestring budget, I'm not a couple $100 budget, have got that thing up running and moving nice, done a lot of work to it. So we now have a mobile communications trailer again that can do just about anything we can do anywhere else. That particular truck we found, thank you to people over at Government Capital turning us on to it. It was a Dallas PD truck that they started to upfit and Dallas PD canceled the order. So when we picked it up, it was 90% upfitted already. So we're going to get a deal on it and it'll work fairly well. We approved the money for it last commissioner's court. So really it looks like coming forward. Otherwise, guys, that's kind of what I got. Something comes up, you think about it, holler at me, let me know. I'm happy to broach any subject, deal with anything, but that's what I had today.
Make a motion, adjourn.
Motion second, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention to these matters.